What you're about to witness are two grown men battling with an unstable internet connection whilst having no idea about what they're doing. Listener discretion is advised. Is that the dance?
I think so. It's the SimKey dance. Oh, this is a GIF, isn't it? Or a thumbnail. There we go. This is another sponsorship. Oh, brilliant.
The first thing that comes to mind when I think I am thirsty is pepper. And
Yeah.
Dr. Pepper serves me well. It's like pepper spray for a bear right into your throat.
Delicious. Right, anyway. Shall we start the intro?
In a minute. I've just got another aside. It's so misunderstood, but it's written in I don't even know what that style of text is. Like where it's all uppercase, lowercase. What is even that called?
2006 MySpace. Is it called camel casing, or is that just in?
There is a thing called camel casing, and which is a style of typing when you namespace things in code.
So it isn't a protective case for a desert-dwelling mammal, then?
No, you don't type like that to protect the camels, even though there's actually camels in Australia as well.
Hey, I'm not camel prejudiced. Whatever. Camels are neat. They have a water bottle on their back that lasts for weeks. So pretty good.
They're designed around arid environments. They are a product of specialization, really, making themselves real hardy.
You are a product of environment, but change is always near. I think that's the lyrics. Strapping young lad.
Ah.
I'm not going to scream it because A, I can't scream very well, and B, I don't want to blow out my voice at the very start of our first episode.
Hey, let's start this by destroying our voices.
Tom Waits style.
When I shit myself in public, there was a homeless man. He was watching across the way.
Sounded a bit like Don Corleone.
He's always watching.
Right,
What? Say what? Say what? Ooh,
with the what
girl, you know what's up. The what's.
This is going well. This is quality content.
Let me start that again.
Welcome to the first proper episode of Always an Adventure podcast, or Right, I'm Sam.
And I'm Alex.
And we are 30-something white males routinely diluting a saturated market by talking utter bollocks. Let me do that again.
And my timing was awful as well, so let's
I can smash it together. It's fine.
Okay.
Fix it in post. But if you want to start it from the top, right.
Fix it in post.
Jesus Christ, Alex. This is great. We got to the first line of the intro.
Fix it in post.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Alex.
And we are 30-something white males routinely diluting a saturated market by talking utter bollocks for up to an hour.
Line.
It's on the fucking document. You don't have to... Oh, dear.
Can we call this episode Fix It in Post?
Yes, absolutely. Sponsored by Dr. Pepper.
The pepperiest soda around. That's right. We've got news, stories, facts, and other cool stuff like that. You're trapped with us here. So, shall we get on with it?
But before we get on with it, I actually have some listener comments, which is very interesting because that actually means, to our complete shock, some people actually listened to our pre-pilot in its entirety and seem to like it. Granted, these people were our friends, but here's what they had to say. I've redacted or altered the names for their own dignity.
So the convincingly named Carrot Sus said, I listened to it all, so that's good.
Yeah, they also provided a lot of constructive feedback, some of which I actually put forward, such as changing our name on Spotify from to Always an Adventure with Alex and Sam. Laboured sounding as it is, it kind of gives people an idea of what they can expect, perhaps. And next up was Bella. She said, Alex has a cracking laugh. It really made me laugh. You have to keep making it. It really cheered me up and was nice seeing and hearing you guys chat. Felt like a little bit of normality.
At this point, I'm trying to figure out who these people are, and I'm just about getting who they are. Crack Elf says, really good. It was like Friday night, so it works for me. Big grin emoji.
Eggman says, that was an enjoyable ramble of 90s pop culture and drunken toileting, combined with the prospect of in-jokes becoming out-jokes and an impending Vimto sponsorship. What it lacked in eggs, it more than made up for in horse corn. Super regular. A perfect 5 out of 7. Young Ham has asked me to read this in a woman's voice, so I'll do my best. I was doing some weights while listening to it and nearly dropped a dumbbell on the cat. There we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the most convincing woman's voice I've ever heard.
You thought that I'd actually swapped bodies with a woman.
Yeah, I was confused by what I was seeing and what I was hearing. Is
Like
that
two
Vimto?
different people.
It is. Oh, yep, sorry. Vimto. I should really get like a can of Vimto, shouldn't I?
An aside within an aside. I was driving somewhere around your ways, maybe a bit further north, and in a nondescript part of a motorway.
You came across a huge belch.
The peppery taste of what line on the horizon? There were two buildings. Well, there's one big building, but two separate offices. One of them was, I think, the RAC, and one that was about 10 times larger was Vimto. Just Vimto. Just a Vimto office. What do they do in this office? What is this? The bureaucracy of Vimto, is that requires such a big building? I don't know.
What on earth is going on inside that Vimto building that facilitates or necessitates such a massive area? It's just one type of fizzy drink, surely. Like,
it's thick with It's
thick
it's
like
thick.
Beyonce. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's got that dummy thickness of Beyonce.
You are drinking the pepperiest, finest goodness, but as far as I remember last week, you were drinking local lager for local people.
I was.
But do you know what's also local? Is crappy strain. Oh,
local news for local people.
I haven't figured out this segue at all. Basically, this segment is about news that has happened in our area of the world or the country, and we found it amusing enough to bring along. Do you have a piece of local news?
I mostly have what local people are trying to sell you, if you want some of them.
Okay, that's still news. That's still news. Yeah, absolutely.
News.
It was clear at this point that Alex hadn't actually brought along any local news and was now winging it. Let's see what happened next.
So I've been, for want of something better to do with my life, I've been looking at local buy-sell groups and finding things that people are trying to sell, which have some comedic merit. So what I intend to do is try and get you to guess what some of these what these ads are trying to sell. Just by some of these are more visual humor, but what are they trying to sell when someone has put an ad as last 3 reduced?
How many guesses do I get before we decide?
Until you just like, I don't care anymore. I'll send you the pictures because some of these are really dumb as well. They look stupid as well as advertised stupid.
Just send them via WhatsApp and I'll put them up on the screen.
Fix it in post.
The last 3 reduced. What would someone be selling in Ashford that is the last 3 reduced?
The £7.
At £7. Okay, that's a bit, that gives me an idea. Perhaps they are vacuum cleaner filters for a Hoover branded Hoover.
That's oddly specific, but no.
Okay. I give up. What is it?
It is chocolate and balloon bundles for Valentine's Day.
Of course, because Valentine's Day's... I can't speak. Valentine's Day. It's been and gone.
Yeah. Here is the picture. I do like the fact that someone has decided that a Toblerone needs to be balanced on a balloon.
That you can't even see the Ferrero Rocher. It's just got a big old ribbon in place. Also, they're 3 completely different bundles, so I guess they kind of just made them themselves. They just got
one more because this is a bit laboured. £10 new. Okay. New.
It's new. It's £10 new. I'm imagining that's in all caps for some reason. £10.
No, but two exclamation marks, but not in caps.
It's pretty awkward punctuation. It's £10 and it's new and it's in Kent. Could I have another clue? Because that could literally be anything.
No, because otherwise I'd be giving it away. Well, unless I start describing the pictures. There's 3 pictures.
Okay, well.
It could be literally anything. Yeah, without seeing what it is.
Toilet seats, 7 kilograms of rice, bucket.
That'd be a bargain for 7 kilos of rice. You've got rice in there? This is where you store your rice?
No, I've got a bucket. I said a bucket.
Does it have rice in it?
I'm sorry, but £10 new. I'm really stuck with. What?
Boringly, it's a pair of size 8 stretchy jeans. Stretchy skinny fit.
Stretchy jeans. I've got some questions. Why aren't they
Yes.
just getting a refund from Primark or wherever they got them from? How much were they? Are they actually selling them at face value? So they're not even making a profit. Like, didn't Topshop recently close down? I think they've gone into administration or something. So it could be they're selling ex-Topshop stuff, and therefore can't get a refund because they've gone into administration or something. I don't really know how it
Quite
works.
possibly. There hasn't been a Top Shop round here for years.
I thought there was one in the shopping mall opposite County Square. What is it called? Park Mall, where it is, where Wilco is, and all those random shops, and where
Nope.
CEX starts. Oh no, I thought there was one.
No,
there. Maybe
there used to
maybe
be one, but it's now a wedding dress shop.
That's still a top shop. Another note on this: the picture of these jeans. It does look
Yeah.
like someone's pissed in them. If you look at the shadow around the seam, inseam groin area, and under the label where it says 8 on it, it's a very noticeable dark patch. It's clearly the shadow of the person who's taking the picture. Now I look at it closer,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it kind of looks like a bit of an accident.
Someone's side saddled a bit of the old peeing on the jeans thing.
Moving on from that, it is local news, and this one is incredibly local because it happened just down the road from where I live. I will not give any context yet. I'm going to read the Nottingham Post article about it, which isn't very long, and it's one of those articles that seems like it was written at like 10 to 9 in the morning before they chucked it on the printing press, because it repeats itself a couple of times. I think I've tried to get rid of that. Anyway, police and fire crews are investigating after a man woke up to find his front door in flames. Nottinghamshire police were called just before 2:50 a.m. this morning, January the 27th, along with Nottinghamshire Fire and Rescue Service. Both attended the home following a report that a bag containing petrol cans had been pushed up to the front door and set alight. Damage was caused to the door and window frames, but the 5 people inside escaped unhurt, police confirmed. The fire service investigation team are on scene today with the hydrocarbon dog used to check for flammable liquids, with Nottinghamshire police continuing to make inquiries around the incident. A detective sergeant said, "This was incredibly frightening for those at the house to wake up in the early hours and find their front door alight. It's incredibly lucky no one was physically harmed. This is absolutely unacceptable and officers are working hard to gather the information we need. However, we would like to reassure people that we don't believe there's any wider risk to the public, and we continue our inquiries and investigation into this incident." Now, what that last paragraph tells you is this was a targeted attack, because
Yeah.
if they say there is no risk to the wider public, but wait, there's more.
There's
This
more,
is-
right? Okay.
This is actually the second attack at this house. The first one happened last October/November time. Their car was set on fire outside their house around the same time of day.
Did someone push petrol towards that as well?
I don't really know. It when we walked past it later that day, the fire had come from inside the car, so that they may have
Okay.
gone in through an open window, or maybe it was an electrical fire, but it's very suspicious. But
Happy
I
birthday
believe it-
brick through the window.
Exactly. But the thing is, I've walked past that house since, and they haven't managed to replace the front door yet, which is half melted. So they've just painted it white, and it just looks like a big scab. But
Okay.
it makes you think, what did they do? If it is a targeted attack, what did these people do to provoke someone to do such a really horrible act of arson on someone's house? It's just like, I got woken up by it, like the fire engines going past. Obviously, they didn't have their sirens on, but the blues and twos were going off, and the or maybe just the blues. Maybe the twos is
Yeah,
the
not the
two-tone.
twos.
Just
Literally
the blues.
no twos because it was
No
night
two-
time.
And
Nino, get the fuck out of the way.
because there were 3 fire engines there, they were squeezing down this tiny road, and you could hear the diesel engine going off. And I stared outside the window, and I could just see all this smoke flying out and a couple of flames. I tried to take a photograph, but the neighbour's satellite dish was blocking the very area of fire, which is kind of annoying. You know,
Was the satellite dish branded Technomate?
it was facing away from me, so I'm not quite sure what brand it is. But do they even make Technomate ones anymore?
I don't know. It's almost as if a fire down your. Oh, so right. So I remember you showing me a picture of a fire. It's just down the road from you. Yeah, I remember
Yes.
that now.
Yeah, it
it's
was a few
almost
weeks ago.
Almost as exciting that one time in summer when the roof of, was it Lidl, went on, just decided to set itself alight.
Yeah, also in Nottingham, just down the road from me. That was insane. Like being
Just like,
called the
where?
fire brigade, and they're like, "Yes, we know that Lidl is on fire." No, Aldi. It was Aldi on fire.
Aldi, sorry. Yeah.
No, maybe it was Lidl, Aldi's competitor. Maybe there was some kind of suspicious targeted attack there. See, it's all cracking off in Nottingham, mate. You know.
Yeah, there we go. It's so anyway, at least they got a visit from the hydrocarbon dog.
Yeah, I know. My favourite, the hydrocarbon dog. I've never even heard of that breed, but maybe they breed them in factories and just bring them up smelling different fires and be like, this is the hydrocarbon dog. Or maybe it's a dog made of, what is hydrocarbon?
Hydrocarbon is a general term meaning anything made out of hydrogen and carbon, so gas or petrol or fuels. Yeah, sugar is a hydrocarbon.
Dog is carbon based, so it's half there, you know. So maybe it's just a
Yeah.
gassy dog. They just bring a gassy dog in just to fart everywhere, just to leave again.
In the right situation, you turn to the dog and it's just on fire. Oh, it's getting worse.
Just randomly aflame.
It's not making any noise. It's just standing there on fire. It's like what's
Just
his
like
face from-
perfectly still. Just.
You just feel this heat on the side of your head. Oh, it's on fire again.
It's only 3 days from retirement.
It's like we're gonna have to paint our melted doors again.
Paint over the melted doors again. So that was my.
Local news for local people.
Oh Christ! I'm doing voiceovers for segments already.
You are indeed, but you're good at it. You're a font of knowledge. Do you have any knowledge to bring to
Thanks.
this next segment?
I did. I've promptly forgotten it all.
What? Really? Honestly. Well, this is as good a time as any to roll this week's advert, I guess.
This podcast is brought to you this week by Always an Adventure Podcast. During the midst of a debilitating global crisis, two noble young men bravely stepped up to serve those in need in the only way they knew how, by creating a podcast. Really? That's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. I swear to God, I'm sick of this shit. Always an Adventure with Alex and Sam. For short, is a groundbreaking bi-monthly show in which two 30-something blokes drone on for an hour for your personal discomfort. You can expect consistent, quality content such as...
Where was I?
You've got cake inside a woman inside a cake.
That was laboured.
Line.
Just doing a shit. Quality content.
Sponsored nonsense. I shat. Let me start that again.
Falling down around me.
You!
How many fingers do I have? Oh no, my camera turned off again. It's loud and silly and I don't like it.
Professional. Still not sold? Sam and Alex will buy every listener their own complete mammoth skeleton. Sam and Alex will not buy anything for anyone. What are you waiting for? Head on over to YouTube or Spotify and start your adventure today. Always an Adventure Podcast. The best thing since Perry Noble's horse corn, with 10 times more nutrition. Probably. I don't know. Go ask your horse.
Look around you. What do you see?
There is the shouting of the cat. Good story about the cat today. He decided that he was going to, when he went to his do his business, he decided that he would also rub half of his leg on said business. So he just wandered into the front room and piss all over himself. And like, good job, cat. You did really good there. And then he had to get washed, and he didn't like that.
Cats historically do not like getting washed, although some do, but I should imagine Oscar does not, because he is so fluffy it probably takes him a while to dry.
Yeah.
Also, he must look so weird when he's all like sodden and just like really skinny. Like,
Yeah, like an owl. He's surprisingly not that big underneath, and it's all poof.
let's hear about Oscar. I want to know about Oscar. Tell the audience about Oscar's story.
Oscar's story. Well, many years ago now, Bee's always been going on about getting a cat. She's like, I want a cat. I want a cat. I want a cat. Where's my spy camera? And eventually, where's my spy camera? Where's my spy camera? Eventually, we got round to going to the local cat rehoming centre, and well, she did first. And I was like, okay, I found a cat. We have specific requirements. We live right by a main road, so ideally, and also on the first floor. So ideally, we wanted a cat that is a house cat. Mercifully, we found one, and He's a Burman, so he's super fluffy, blue eyes.
What a dreamboat.
Yeah, what a dreamboat. He is fluffy. We brought him home. We walked him home. In fact, put him in a carrier, put a towel over it. It's just like this cat was like, "Yo, what's happening?" And just let him out, and he sort of just looked around, and went, "Yeah, it's my place now. I'm cool with this." And yeah, that's how we got Oscar. Weirdly enough, he's just generally a pretty chill cat. Like, taking him to the vet, he's just like, "Hey, I'm at the vet now, cool." He literally just walks around a bit and goes, "Okay, I know where I am now." And that's it. He doesn't care. He's not like, "I don't like this. I don't want to be here. I'm gonna vomit everywhere or take a shit or something." He doesn't do that. He's just like, I'm cool.
Yes, he is. I have met him as well a few times, and he's very chill, but he's very playful as well. You know, you
Yes.
start throwing around the little hot dog thing that he's got, and like all these random toys, and he loves having to play. So he's not one of these cats that just sits there and does nothing. He's got a very chilled temperament, and because he's a Burman, I think is he purebred as well? He's not got.
I believe so. Yeah.
Other bits. It's they do look nice, but they've not got a lot going on in the old intelligence department.
No.
Bless him. So he's very much like meow.
Meow. A cat breed that almost got eradicated by... That's probably the wrong word. Let's start that again. A cat breed that...
Oh, no!
Oh, no. It's happened again.
The walls are bleeding again.
Oh, no. Reality is crumbling around to me again. What will I do? Hydrocarbon dog, stop being on fire. I need to paint that door already.
I need to talk about my cat as well.
I need to talk about a cat that's not on fire. Stop being on fire. Yeah, so they, as a breed, Burmans almost got wiped out by the Second World War.
Oh dear, that was very on point then, wasn't it? Eradicated. I had no idea.
Yeah, we won't go there. It took a while to be sort of... They had to do some crossbreeding and shit to get the actual breed back into a non-Habsburg style arrangement with their genetics.
It's still like he's got nothing physically wrong with him. It's just a bit like the royal family, aren't they? They're just a bit like, yes, look at me, I'm wonderful.
Everyone's got the same eyebrows.
Yeah, Oscar's face is not yet on a coin. I think that's unacceptable.
We all need the face of a cat on our coins.
It's better than having your mugshot in the newspaper, for instance, for committing what seems like a criminal act in your neighbourhood. Now, that brings me quite neatly to my story of the week. So, in the spirit of doors getting ruined, I think you know where this is going.
Okay. Needing a good solid paint job.
Yeah, well, this tale is about how you and I experienced this firsthand.
Reason why I moved out of a house. That one,
right,
that
okay.
story.
Spoilers. Right. Cast your minds back, ladies and gentlemen, to September 2012. It was back in the before times. People used to venture outside for reasons other than en masse bog roll acquisition. We even went out in groups at weekends. Wild stuff. After a rather nice... Dude. After... I'm just going to talk over you. Following a rather nice afternoon of strolling around Rye, I headed to Ashford and met up with Alex at his house. Drinks ensued, followed by an invite to the local spoons by a couple of other friends. We eagerly rushed to town, fueled by excitement and booze, and in our haste we may have overlooked a certain element which will be detailed in a second. It was a pretty standard night, really. Drinking, conversation, nothing too wild in comparison to some of our other adventures, for instance. Save for a small incident at the kebab shop involving our friend failing to finagle more meat than he'd paid for, all was good. We parted ways and headed back home, bellies full of kebab and heads full of booze, content that a satisfying, drama-free night was had. This all changed, however, once approaching Alex's front door. We were mere yards away when Alex realised a grave error was made. His keys were still inside the house.
Right, yeah, the specifics there is not all of my keys. I had every key bar one, the front door key to my house. Why was this? Why did I not have this one key? It's because for some reason, reasons undefined, I'd given you that key earlier in the day to go to the shop, but I'd just given you the key, like on its own. I guess booze was required or something from the shop, so you went to the shop, put it on the side in the kitchen. It was on the corner of the worktop. So the key was there, and of course I completely forgotten that it was there, not on my keys, put my keys in my pocket, did the old pat, off we went. But no, the most important key was not there.
So after a bit of panicking, I suppose, we put that aside to come up with a solution, or several, as it turned out. Firstly, I tried to squeeze my skinny hands through the letterbox. Alas, not even my girly wrists were slender enough. Next up, I scaled his ground floor roof, hoping to gain access via a large window. This had also been locked shut, so we were out of luck there as well. It's fair to say that we had run out of sensible ideas, so Alex grabbed a tyre iron from his car. You initially tried to utilise it in a way my hands couldn't, like through the letterbox. But the stubborn letterbox was having none of it. Bracing himself for the worst, Alex brought the iron back and gave it a good swing. The door's glass shattered with a loud pop as bits of glass rained down on the kitchen tiling. He quickly reached through and unlatched the handle. We were finally indoors, but at what cost? Amazingly, Alex was none too bothered about the door, as it was apparently due for replacement anyway. I believe that's what you said, is that I'm going to replace that door. Or maybe you just said that to make me feel better about the fact that we've broken into your house.
Yeah, I had to break into my own house. I was going to say it wasn't quite the kitchen, so it was the hallway, but it was tiled like the kitchen anyway.
Yeah, that's where I got confused, because I had to look at photographs that I took from then, and I saw the tiles. It's like, oh, I think I remember his doorway being basically in his kitchen, so
yeah,
okay, they rained down onto the tiles.
Yeah,
so,
I literally replaced the whole door because I wasn't going to get that glass again because it was painted. I think it had a pattern on it.
So we were quite concerned that a neighbour would call the police after witnessing two drunk lads fail to break in quietly before literally breaking in, albeit to a property owned by one of them.
Yeah.
Luckily, no one seemed that bothered, sparing us from an awkward explanation to the police. So I don't know what that says about your neighbourhood watch scheme, really, if they just didn't care.
Literally, no one gave a fuck about the fact that they heard someone breaking into a house.
Just say, I'm sure this is fine, because we were discussing it quite loudly for a while beforehand as well. Like, what do we do? We were trying to, scale the walls and try to get in through windows that weren't accessible and stuff. So someone must have seen that and gone, oh, don't worry about it. I'm sure it's fine. I don't want to get involved. I looked at the photos, and you broke the panel furthest from the latch. I don't know if that was intentional, but it was actually broken on the right-hand side, and the latch was on the left-hand side of the door. I can show you. Yeah, I can show you the photo. I'm gonna send the thing via WhatsApp.
Because I remember the latch being on the. If you're looking at the front of the door, the latch was on the right-hand side.
The photo has been put into the chat upside down, so that's not exactly helpful. But see, look, the latch is on the opposite side to where you smashed the door. So
yeah.
I'm not sure why you did that, but I think there was an initial reason, but then maybe you were trying to preserve the integrity of the door in case you were able to fix it at a later date or something. I don't know. And then obviously trying to replace a window next to the latch may have damaged the latch or something. I don't know. What brain happened? What brain happened?
What brain happened? I did reflect on the whole situation some days afterwards, and did actually try to get the latch open with my hand, and I could do it if I wasn't full of booze.
Yeah, of course. It's just the fact that we were, bit drunk, bit tired. It was like 1 a.m. at this point as well. So,
yeah, it was late. Yeah,
we had some good times at that house though. Before, is that why I thought you were already going to move out anyway, and that wasn't the reason why you moved out?
It was you could perhaps say a long time coming. I'd been there for some number of years, and I was like, enough shit's happened here, so let's just fucking leave. And that was the proverbial straw.
That is the first and last time I've broken into a property. I'm not counting derelict buildings that are unoccupied, things like that, because that's not really breaking in, that's just entering, isn't it? It's just going. That's trespassing. There you go. Trespassing is a different crime.
You could argue that it's semantics.
That dog was not on fire. He was just not cold. Okay.
It's not fire, it's a conflagration. It's completely different.
He's not flammable. He's inflammable.
from entering. Let's call it entering. Snork. I own a watch because of entering.
Really? Okay. Show us
Yes,
the watch.
I'm going to try and find it. I'm going to do a flip. I'm going to try and find it. This is quality content.
This is a new segment, everyone. It's called Alex fumbles around in his room that's full of crap to find an artifact to corroborate a story. It's a little bit of a long-winded segment name, but, you know,
Please hold.
learn to read. You know, if you don't want to read, how are you going to advance your knowledge? Maybe through podcasts like this, which are semi-educational, and that's why we justify its existence. Have you found it? Yeah, I'm running out of things to monologue. Monologue, mono, one, log, log.
Log.
Just one log.
All right, I'm trying to wind it because
Is it a bomb?
no, it's just really shonky. Right. So this watch.
Oh,
This
okay,
watch,
that's
which
got an
is-
interesting pattern.
Yeah.
Is that Kim Jong-un?
No, it's Mao.
Okay. Oh, it's little arm waves.
Yes. So the second hand, both the second hand and his arm move at the same time. For some reason, there's both a second hand and also his arm that moves.
You found this when you entered somewhere. Could you offer a bit more context? Like,
So one of the places that redact the name. So one of our friends, where he used to live, was next to a place that was abandoned. Well, not abandoned per se, but it was all boarded up, but it was incredibly close to where he lived. So one day we decided, we're going to just sort of jimmy a door open and have a look round because it's probably was a crack den at some point or something. Disappointingly, it wasn't a crack den. It was just messy. But we found some things because people clearly had lived there at some point. And one of the things, well, I found this watch. Yeah, it's not so gold watch. Yeah, it's some shonky, waving Chairman Mao watch.
that's pretty cool. Was that the same place where we shot that music video one time?
Yes,
Was
where we almost, but we didn't break the floor doing so.
I threw I think it was an Archer's bottle across the room, and it smashed into the drywall at the other end of the room, and it left it stuck into it and left a perfect circular hole.
Brilliant.
But I was quite I had been drinking since the start of that shoot, and the shoot was about 9-10 hours long, and the guy who was shooting it for you was like, "Do you want to be B camera?" And I was like, "I don't know what I'm doing." Okay, yeah, sure. I don't think he used any of my
Sure.
footage.
I can't remember if he did. Yeah, if you that video is still on YouTube, and the in the first 10 seconds, someone gets broken bones. Literally gets broken bones.
Is that where someone kicks someone in the chest?
Yep, someone that gets roundhouse kicked in the chest. It's like Jesus.
Also, there's a cameo from the headbanging horsehead man
Horse.
whose identity has been shielded from the public.
One can say he loves it.
Yeah, he does. He loved it. Can confirm. I'm on speaking terms with him. He loved it. Or her. Might be her.
They, them.
They/them. I got asked the other day at work whether I was a male or female from a customer I've been dealing with for 2.5 years. It's like, "Hi Sam.
Nice.
You're such a good bloke/woman. I don't really know." And I was just like, and I went to my manager. Do I have to put my pronouns at the end of my email now? Like, what the fuck? Like, we've spoken on the phone. I've spoken on the phone to this gentleman, and he wasn't uncertain as to my gender. So I identify as a hollaback girl.
When I first watched that video, I'd forgotten that I'd said that, so I didn't even know what I was saying. I was like, what? Because I said it so
Identify as a
quickly.
hollaback girl. See, this is why we need to record you saying stuff, because you just come out with some genuine bollocks, and it's
Murph.
hilarious. So, just same here. You know, the amount of times I've been having a conversation with someone, and I say something genuinely hilarious, and I'm just like, no one else was here to hear that other than the person I was talking to, which is fine. But also, I think there's some merit in immortalizing such idiocy, camera and audio, for at least 16 people to enjoy.
At
4
least-
subscribers.
what was it? Yeah,
Four-
4
five-
subscribers. What was it? 14 views. that aren't us.
Yeah, but that went out Wednesday just gone at time of recording. So on the when was that? The 17th or 18th, and it's Saturday the 20th now. So it's not too bad, seeing as I've showed literally everybody that I know that would like it, but still. But my brother hasn't watched it yet. I like to think that even though he has always been very musically inclined, I started making electronic music, like throwing samples together, when I was 19, back in 2005/6. And then he was like, "Oh, that's cool." And I was like, "I'll give you the software that I'm using." And I used
Fruity Loops in it.
No, it was Sony Acid Music Studio 4 or 5, or like a really early one.
Acid.
We each made an album within a week, and mine was kind of like 10 songs that kind of shared a theme and a narrative, but they're pretty straightforward, sort of a bit wibbly wobbly. I used random samples. I stole some of Venetian Snares' samples and stuff, just like the string sections and stuff. And then Jack went on and he created all of his own stuff pretty much. The songs were way more creative, but they weren't as well realised because he was only 12 and he hadn't heard as much music, so he didn't have as much to influence him. But they were really good. They mostly sounded like The Prodigy, which is not a bad thing.
Nice.
They're both equally as awkward and sort of not easy to listen to. I'm proud of a couple of tracks of them, but I understand they're not very well produced because I was literally just going.
Are you going to release them to our loyal Patreon subscribers?
I actually do have the whole album, but I have an older version of it because I rendered all the tracks, then I went back and fixed a few, and then I did them again. And then I stored them on a really terrible external hard drive that blew up and broke forever. And so I only had the shit version where some of the bits come in too early, or I've not lined certain samples up properly, and it really bothers me. So I don't really listen to it myself because it's just it's so awkward. But yeah, he's gone on. This is a plug for Jack. He's under the production alias Sub Sound. So it's Sub Sound. He produces a lot of EDM electronica music. He's been signed by a couple of independent labels. He gets a little bit of sort of popularity. Fun fact, he went to Thailand on holiday a few years ago, and they were playing one of his tracks in a random bar because they recognised him and put it on. How mad is that? This is in fucking Thailand. Yeah. And he just couldn't believe it. It's like, what the fuck? And they're playing Storm Rider!
That moment when that happens, just like, what?
It's absolutely crazy. But I've only ever done it as a hobby, but he took it way further, and he's, he can't make a living off of it only because he's got a full-time job like most of us, so he's having to commit to that because that's what's paying the rent. So but this is like piggy bank money, I think, like buying more equipments, and buying a big van to put all the leads and equipments in. We can hook it up.
Hook you up, yeah.
Exactly.
Evil
fucking
and
mushroom head is bullshit. Bullshit.
Motherfucker, stab him in the face.
Joe.
Motherfucking devil gonna stab you in your fucking neck, Joe.
Yeah, there you go, stab you in the neck. I was thinking about that recently because I've finally got to the point in my life I'm like, okay, I'm gonna throw away all my CDs because I can't sell them. And I was like, oh, which Raging Speedhorn album is that off? And I can't remember which one it's on.
How the Great Have Fallen. It's the one. It's the one with the brown album cover with like a statue on the front. It's at the very end of "Don't Let the Bastards Grind You Down," I think, or "Ride with the Devil." I can't remember the song. Yeah. But they actually stole that. That is from Newgrounds, I think, where it's just a prank call. Yes, a guy doing a prank call. If you listen very carefully to the Raging Speedhorn version, you can hear music playing in the background and them laughing to it. So it's actually, they didn't record it. I thought that they recorded it for years, and then I found the original. I was like, oh, okay. So it's actually a very old meme.
There we go. Before memes were memes.
Yeah, it's 2005. Well, they existed, but memes are very mainstream, and that's not a bad thing at all because it means that everybody can relate to memes, can't they? Which is great. It brings us together. Dank memes bringing us together since whenever they came about. I'm too old to remember the exact moments they crossed over.
Yeah, do you remember a time before memes? Some people are adults now that are like, there was a time before the internet?
What? This does not compute. You mean you grew up for the first 14 years without any internet? And really, for the first 19 years without high-speed internet as well.
Yeah. Oh boy.
God, that's showing our age, isn't it? I was 19 when we got broadband, 2 megabyte broadband in Wittersham, and it was so inconsistent as well. It was...
I think, oh god, I think maybe the first broadband that I got was like a 256 or 512 or something kilobytes. It was obviously better than dial-up, yeah, but
broadband, it was better than dial-up when it first came out.
yeah, it was still shit. If you compare it to now, like I've got 80 meg down, 20 meg up, and it's just not even expensive.
Yeah, well, speaking of broadband, I remember using LimeWire when it came out, which was the hard drive shredder. And you would be lucky even if it took an hour to download 1 second's worth of music. Now, you could probably listen to 1 second's worth of music, but you probably wouldn't really get what it was trying to show you if you didn't see the song title. So that brings us to our next segment. What's that tune? 1 second edition.
Tune, 1 second. I haven't actually done any of the prep for this. I was meant to do it yesterday and I didn't. So, scene deleted.
Coming soon.
We'll do it next week. We'll do it next time, not next week.
So in lieu of this segment that is not ready, it's not ready to come out the oven. Do you know what? We're learning from CD Projekt Red. We're not going to take it out the oven before it's ready, because otherwise it will just be a big old pile of shit with some good heart underneath. But shrouded in this big buggy mess where you'll fall through the floor, your head will disappear, your car will just randomly fly off into the air. None of that is applicable to this particular segment, but I think you get the point.
At least one of us isn't T-posing, so clearly this is far more polished.
Oh, what have you done?
Because honestly, if you have a problem with standing and looking normal, you might as well just T-pose.
Yeah.
If you're just like, hey, it's me. Well, what is that? How is that any different? Just going.
I think I'm going to try that next time I'm waiting for a bus or something. Just T-pose. You can't really see it, because the camera's too. It looks like I'm dabbing. Okay, fair enough. We'll skim over that section. Let's just.
some of that might be
fixed in post.
So no, I've just checked. We've been recording for an hour and 11 minutes.
Yeah, the ones I listen to, an hour and a half. Like hour and a half is pushing it in terms of length, but typically an hour 20-ish. And
we've got to remember, people's average commute to work, if people still commute to work, to and from, it takes me half an hour to walk to work, and of course half an hour to walk back. I might stop off at the shops on the way, so that gives me about 10-15 minutes extra, and then that's an entire podcast episode, and that's ideal.
The displeasure of 3 hours of commuting a day, so I could easily listen to a whole episode on the way to work.
Oh god, that reminds me of when I was living in London, and it took an hour and a half to get from zone 5 to zone 3, but on the other side I was basically travelling from southeast London all the way up to north London, and I had to take...
Oh Christ.
I walked to the overground station that was in the next district over because it was cheaper. That train went to... I think it was London Bridge or Charing Cross or something, one of the big stations, and then from there I had to take another train, and then I had to take the Central line up to where I actually worked. So it took like 4 trains or 3 trains and on foot, and it just took forever. And on the way back, the timings never lined up, so when I got to the overground again, I have to wait 15 minutes for the next train. I was just like, fuck my life.
Yeah, I don't want to go back to my former commute, because similar amount of time, fewer trains. It was only 2 for me, but still, it's just like, no.
Also, it's the expense as well. Like, in 2014, zone 1 to 4 travel card was £50 a week. That's just that's 200 quid a month. I got paid fuck all at that job. I got paid just over 200 quid a week. So that's a week's wages, almost a week's wages, completely gone on just travelling to and from work, which is fucking nuts. I understand that you probably paid even more because you have to travel fucking 50 miles into work. You know, like,
Yeah, coming from where I am to go into central London to then go out to zone 2 again, 800 quid a month. It's just madness.
Jesus fucking Christ, that's silly money, that is. Why can't they just invent a much better means of transportation? Like, where's our teleports at? The alternative is move to London, and no thank you, not again.
No. I several times I considered it, and I was like, it's going to be like, it's either going to be slightly worse or a lot worse than my current situation, because I might get back like 20 minutes and a bit of money from what I pay to commute to work, but I'm going to live in a box or on the fucking street or some shit like that. So no thank you.
No, exactly. Well, you saw the shit digs I lived in when I was in London, like that tiny box
In the middle of a roundabout.
That was, I didn't mind the modest size, putting it nicely. It was just the noise, the fucking noise, like 16, 17 hours a day, traffic constantly, and the traffic lights were right outside my house. I say house, it was a flat. No, it wasn't even a flat, it was a studio. And just the always angry fucking road rage people beeping at each other, yelling at each other. It wasn't in the best part of southeast London either, so it was kind of run down. There's a lot of fights and stuff that happened because there was a dodgy pub round the corner. And the people that actually Vince lived above us for a while. He thought better of it and moved back to Dover. Then some guy moved in and he walked around constantly, like till 4 a.m. You could hear him creaking on the laminate flooring and coughing really loudly. And then one time he fell asleep with what sounded like Game of Thrones on full blast, and I did a fucking old man thing. I got a broom and went boom, 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 shut up. And then apparently he came round the next day and my ex answered the door and he was having a go at her for me banging on the ceiling at 4 a.m. I was like, I was only doing it because you had your TV up to 1 million and I was trying to fucking sleep.
Jesus.
So you can't win. At that time, as you know, sound travels very well, don't you, in that building? Because I'm going to find that picture, or maybe if you just take a picture of that T-shirt, but I pulled a funny face and Alex took a picture and then he reviewed the picture and the face was so hilarious that he burst into one of his now famous giggle fits. But then it got cut off when I heard a loud knocking at the door, and this was at 11 o'clock at night, so not too late, and it was on a Saturday night as well. And this woman looked furious. She was like, you need to keep it down. I've got work on Sunday morning and I've got a baby next door. And I was just like, oh, sorry for bringing mirth to your life.
Clearly not a fun-filled life they have.
Well, yeah, I can understand that because they lived in London. The only joy I got was like when you came to visit or when someone came to visit or I went to visit someone else. The rest of the time it was almost pure misery.
Dark times.
It was. You think times are shit now, and they are. Let's be fair, they are really tough for a lot of people. But that's what it's like all the time in London when you don't have a well-paid job. Like, because you're basically in self-imposed lockdown because you can't afford to go anywhere but the shops or work. And if you do decide to go out, especially in that part of London, there's always that underlying threat of, will I get mugged? And the mugger will be so disappointed that I've got nothing on me of worth. It just stabbed me anyway. TLDR, don't live in London unless you've got more money than God. But if you've got more money than God, go live on Mars.
Get one-way ticket from Space Karen and go live on Mars. Yeah.
What?
You've not heard Elon, what even is his name? Elon
Gated Musk.
Long Boy Muskie is he's been referred to as Space Karen, which I think is amusing.
I've not heard that nickname for him yet. That's amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
Henceforth, I will call Elon Musk Space Karen. I thought that he had like a some kind of space project that sounded like the word Karen, and people were just calling it Space Karen. That would be funny.
That would be amazing, but alas, no. It's just because
he wants to
Musk's
see the
gonna be
manager.
Musk. Yeah, he is the manager, and he still wants to see the manager. One day you must become the Karen. Montage of you pushing a big old like wheel for ages, and then you turn from a small boy into this rippling muscular. I'm basically referencing the training montage from Conan.
Yeah, where he becomes like from the weediest kid you've ever seen, and then suddenly he's just like tonk.
Suddenly he's fucking swole, and also for reasons undescribed, oiled.
Well, that's what happens when you become really muscular. You secrete some kind of oil.
Glistening!
Constant glistening. Now for women. That was a
You said a
horrible
bad-
joke.
You said a bad thing, and you should feel bad.
I feel terrible. So terrible, in fact, that I think that we've reached the end of this week's episode.
Oh boy.
So that's it. We made it to the end. Thanks very much for listening. You can actually find us on YouTube now, which is exciting, at podcast. Or if you can't bear to look at our faces, you can now listen on Spotify and Google Podcasts, I think. We are podcast with Alex and Sam. You can also head over to Twitter at the somewhat confusing handle podcast for updates and random bollocks. I didn't choose that handle. I think it just chose it for me. Personally, I can be found floating around the internet under the regmedia_00 handle on Twitter. I spout moany old man stuff mainly and post songs that I like. I also have a YouTube. It's not very active. It's just got old vlogs and Bloodstock videos and stuff, so they're quite entertaining. They're all public if you want to see them. Do you have anything that you want to plug?
Oh, right, fine, all right, fine.
Come on.
One of my bands has released some fucking music. You can go listen to it on Spotify, where our best podcast is also available. Yeah.
What's your band's name?
I'm not going to tell you.
Well, okay, I'm just going to put the link in the description. So
Yeah, if I can do it, yeah.
I've met half of the band, and they're both called Alex. So they are two different people, by the way. They just both happen to be called Alex. Top notch Tony, and he's top notch as well.
That was a really weird moment.
So that's a nice little plug for Crammond if he watches or listens to this. Anyway,
Yeah.
so whichever medium you choose to listen to us or watch us on, if you give us a like, share, subscribe, comment, all of that stuff, it means that we can laugh at your terrible grammar or cry at the sheer amount of negative feedback. That's it, really. And until next time, please remember
Fix it in post.